That's right. Welcome back to the Puck Drop Podcast. I am Cole, the NHL Music Man Chapman, and I am here with...
Shut up. Shut up.
Lieutenant Dangle D.
Our favorite... I wouldn't shit you. You're my favorite turd. That's where we're at.
Destin Edgington. And we're brought to you by Hockey Stops up in Ogden and Logan. And, the Hockey Stops just expanded their shop. Have they done it yet? They're ripping down some walls. Making some room in the Ogden location, so... It'll be much more, user friendly walking around in there and
our dear friend
whatnot.
Jack here is going to end up getting us up there in Park City.
Yep.
He just doesn't know yet.
And we're also brought to you by Utog, also up in Ogden. Go check out their back patio and their food. They've got daily specials. Their beers are good. Everything's amazing there. Can't say enough about those guys. And we're here with a part 2 with Jack Skille. We've just got too much to talk about the hockey organizations and the development and youth hockey and everything. And he's got a lot of great ideas and we want him to speak on them and we want people to hear about it.
Well, and I love it because it's like I grew up around it and knowing what it was like on my end. So hearing what you have to offer and say is crucial. People need to know this.
So where were we?
Well, I think I ended the last episode just saying I'm going to focus on the kids that I have right in front of me. Right. And I think that's what every guy in this area just really needs to focus on, the politics side of it. Previous episode I said, ice is being mismanaged. It wasn't a shot at the managers, which I'm sure that'll be taken personally, but it's about like, okay, what's the plan? What's the goal? What are we a part of? What's the bigger structure here? What's the structure here?
It's not about us. It's about
you got figure skaters that want the ice, right? How much ice are they getting? Mm-hmm. Yearly. How much ice are the hockey clubs running out of those rinks getting? Annually as well.
I didn't even think about figure skating and
there's a lot.
Nobody ever does, right? So, and that's I think their main gripe is nobody ever thinks about figure skating. So there's empathy for them as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's kind of like not necessarily mismanaged by the rinks. Maybe it's also mismanaged by the program leaders themselves. Like, what do kids really need for development? What's the goal? What's the purpose of it? What does it look like at each level? Seems to me that the person that screams the loudest in these meetings, these board meetings with the organizations, the board meetings at the UAHA level, whoever screams the loudest gets their way. And I'd like to see that, taken down a little bit. Like, let's be professional. Let's be respectful. Let's talk about facts here, and let's try to grow the game together.
Listen to people, and listen to their ideas.
Don't even. Just start with asking.
Yeah.
Right. Well, ask questions. It's not. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What can we do to get this better? But when you think, it's just ego. It's just a head thing. It's like, oh well, I paid this much money, and I want this to go this way, and I think this is going to work.
Well, I think if people are being honest with themselves, I'm not on a board. I have a 5-year-old. Right. I don't really have that much skin in the game right now. He's 5. Like I don't even care for him to be a hockey player. He loves hockey, but who knows where that's going to go. He's 5. Yeah. So, but as a general thing, and maybe a blatant statement, maybe incorrect, maybe correct. I'm pretty confident it's correct. Parents don't usually get involved until contact year at the board levels.
100%. Yeah.
It's like now they're like the crazy switch goes off and like, I'm going to make all this change. I'm going to make it better. And they want to, they feel and they say that they're part of the solution, but they pump out these resumes that they're a level 5. I mean, every time I see someone list a level 5 in their resume, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, at the
write them off.
How'd you get to the level 5 when you only coached for 2 years?
It's like a golf pro at a clubhouse that took a test and now he's a pro.
Yeah, I'm 2 under, dude.
Not to discredit those guys, but like it's kind of like getting the pro label by default.
What's your handicap?
Yeah, I got a couple buddies that do that, and they're great golfers, but they aren't pros. They aren't on the tour for a reason. They didn't, They're
exactly.
Yeah. So at the parent level, you said earlier that
let the coaches coach.
Well, you said earlier that the youth sports are taken way too seriously nowadays.
Yeah,
and it's such a fact because and maybe it's just social media being social media, but you see videos these days of parents getting in fist fights. At a freaking T-ball game.
I think there's a psychological thing going on. I'm not a psychologist, but I think the psychological aspect that I see if I were to unpack it, would be, we're living vicariously through our kids.
Yes.
Maybe we have some personal regrets for what the decisions we made when we were kids and teenagers and stuff like that. And we're trying to like force it on our kids to be better. Or maybe we failed at something and maybe we got a personal trauma going on and we want to hide from it by making our kid an all-star. I don't know.
I love that.
I think that there's certainly personal trauma from past coaches.
I really
screamed at.
That was a very interesting perspective.
And I think that
really
this personal trauma is it's almost like a PTSD response. When they see something that their kid's going through and then automatically they put themselves in that situation and they're like, I got to save my kid because nobody saved me. Right. And it's like, it's not what's really going on. I'm not gaslighting you, but I could totally see how you would feel that way, but like, that's not it. Right. Safe sport and everything going on, there's nothing really coaches can do anymore. And it's actually safe sport's also being weaponized by some folks across the country.
Absolutely.
Right. So, which sucks too, but because safe sport's for the kids.
Yes.
Period.
Absolutely.
Not for the parents.
No. And I totally love what you're saying right now because even just for example, touching back on this, I'm coaching a 12U travel B team, right? I had to pull in a sports psychologist because it was getting so ugly amongst the kids, and we had a couple of girls on the team, some develop quicker, some don't, some do, some don't. There's a little bit of a gap there. Right. But how do you narrow that gap in when there's so much bullying and we're traveling and just I'm not there to take care of other kids. I'm there to make sure we're keeping the camaraderie. Mm-hmm. And I did as much as I could possibly do through events. We were always as a team at lunch, you know what I mean? Dinners, everything.
Well, you'd have to, even with safe sport and how serious it's gotten, which is great.
Yes.
It's an amazing thing.
100%.
You'd have to really try to screw up. When you take a safe sport class, you're like, yeah, duh, that's common sense. Why would anybody ever do that? But people have done those things. So that's why safe sport exists. And
and I'm not speaking on a coaches to a kid's standpoint. It's the kids bullying each other.
Yeah. Kids bullying each other. That's a conflict thing. If you're emotionally mature enough to understand conflict is a two-sided thing.
Right.
So if your kid's getting made fun of, it's not off base or tone deaf to say, well, maybe he said something or did something to trigger that.
There's a two-way.
Can we investigate it? And let's investigate it. And if your kid did nothing and something happened, well, we'll make sure that the punishment fits the crime.
Yes, absolutely.
So
that's
at that
kind
point,
of where it went with us. Yeah. I was benching kids for shifts and not wanting to do so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've got to.
Well, if it's off ice related and you gotta use that.
On ice, off ice, it was just bickering, and I'm it came to an end real quick.
Yeah.
We ended up winning a few championships, 4 or 5 after. So
yeah, hockey can be used as a tool definitely for emotional maturity and commitment and self-respect.
And that's one thing I try to implement as a youth program is you know what? There's discipline, and then a disciplinary action. Mm-hmm. We want you to be disciplined to know. The structure of what we are after for what to progress as an athlete, as a person, as development.
Sure.
And then if you don't, I'm not saying I'm going to give you the action if you're messing up in a game because you weren't in your position. That's not what it's about.
Right.
It's if you're literally causing hell throughout what is getting built through this process, then you're gonna have a seat, or you're not gonna play that game, or just kind of.
Well, I think if you're disruptive to the classroom in school, what happens?
Same concept, yeah.
Well, I'm a coach, but I'm a teacher on the ice, so that's my classroom. Don't disrupt my classroom.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. And I love that, and I mean that's just it's kind of gone away from when I grew up. I mean, you'd mess up when, you go out there and it was one person messes up, now the whole team faces the repercussions.
Yeah.
Because you're a unit.
Yeah, you're a team.
You're a team.
Herb Brooks style.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I've gone out on the ice with 2 garbage cans in the crease. It's not fun. And it was an hour and a half practice, it's not a good time.
on the subject of coaches and especially, because Utah's probably going to be seeing an influx of new coaching. Do you think there's enough resources today for coaches to be the best coach? Because I think teaching the game and teaching skills is one thing, but I think being like an actual leader and understanding what a leader is,
I like that.
and understanding like the different personalities that you have to deal with, it's like everyday life with kids or, adults at work. When you're at work and being a leader, you have to adapt to the room.
That's a great question.
I agree with that.
I think it's more about studying and learning and having an open mind. Like, you can't expect your players to be coachable and have an open mind or adapt if you're unwilling to have an open mind and adapt yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it starts with like studying and learning and having an open mind and challenging yourself. Like, I went to a coaching conference back in 2019, fresh out of pro hockey. I was on a hiatus. I was considering retiring, and my mentor invited me there, and I went, and I was around these prestigious, strength and conditioning coaches, physical therapy, team coaches in rugby, soccer, whatever. And they were presenting all their data and all their evidence and all their studies and all these things, and about development and how to train an athlete. And I've been playing the sports since I was 3, and it would be easy to think like I know everything, but like I held my head in my hands and cried like after that weekend, because I was like, I know nothing. It literally tore me down to the point where like I don't know anything. And I built myself up over the last 6 years. And how I built myself up is I've studied, I've talked to people, I've read books. I'm like a sponge with people that have more experience than I do, and people that don't have more experience than I do, that just have good ideas, maybe experience in other fields. Like, I'm constantly watching film.
Yeah.
Like, my wife talks about this all the time. That's the stuff that people don't get to see, right? Like, I'm studying film on my computer.
Film is a huge,
right? I'm watching games and clipping things out. I'm looking up players. I have access to Instat, right? Like, I can search any 14U player all the way up to NHL player and watch their most recent three games. Like, I see a game on TV, I go, oh, wow, that was a great defensive retrieval by Seth Jones. I'm going to mark it at, first period, 2 minutes and 33 seconds left. I'm going to wait for that game to pop up in Instat. I'm going to look it up and I'm going to clip it. And that's a teaching clip for kids, right? So like, I'm constantly studying the game, but I'm also learning about emotional maturity through therapy, personal therapy, marriage,
interaction,
being a father,
psychology,
right? And learning, like what you said, is every kid's different and how to reach each kid. And I've changed my demeanor as a coach over the last 6 years. I know I have. I've grown. And I'm sure a lot of people would agree that met me when I first came in full of piss and vinegar. And then now it's like, okay, how I talk to parents, my approach is different, much different than it was when I first started. I have more empathy. I have more respect. I have more like, but don't waste my time, right? Don't waste my time. Like, I'm going to give you advice, but if you listen to my advice and you talk to me for an hour and a half and take me away from my family, and you just go and still end up doing your own thing, I'm probably not going to give you that time again. Right. So I think I'm learning as a coach about boundaries. I'm learning about boundaries with parents, setting the standard beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Setting the standard with the kids, learning about the kids as I coach them and talk to them before and after practice. What's this kid? What makes him tick? But then studying the game. And the thing is that's what makes a good coach. Right. But who has that time that's got a 9-to-5 job and is making $200 a month as a stipend to coach a 12U Pee Wee team?
I did it for free.
Nobody does, right? So if you do it for free, right, you're finished in that 9-to-5. You are in the temperament of that 9-to-5. Maybe your boss yelled at you that day. You had a spoon that day, or several, and you're going to the rink to work with some 10-year-olds that don't listen. Right? You're like, screw this. You're driving. You're driving like, I'll figure it out when I get there.
It
right?
worked for me.
And some guys really enjoy that. Some guys do execute it well.
You hear the whistle, you take a knee.
Yep. But some guys have a tough time. Like, how can you study the game when you're doing that, right? So let's have some empathy for the coaches too, and some respect for the fact that they're just getting a little stipend or they're working for free.
Well, and not only that, it's like if you're really into it and that's what like they need, it was a passion for me. I genuinely almost started to tear up when you were talking about this because I miss it.
Yeah.
Like I had just as much fun winning that they did because I got to experience that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I miss it.
Yeah, of
And
course.
it's like that's why this is so much.
My
this
happy place is
therapy.
on the ice with kids.
Absolutely.
My unhappy place is when I got parents talking about politics in the ring.
Oh,
That's my
100%.
unhappy
I'm
place.
like,
I
go
walk
away.
away deflated. I walk away like,
and it's just mentally.
what am I doing?
draining.
And I'm like,
Yes.
I need to get back into therapy today
Exactly.
because I need to unpack all this crap that just hit me.
Exactly.
And
Amen.
so I
Hey,
asked that
thank you.
question based on a book that I've actually read. I don't know if you know who Jocko Willink is. He's a retired Navy SEAL, and he writes leadership books. And I've read one of them. I need to read more of them, but
Send 'em my way,
he it is the perspective that he puts on like leadership is incredible. So like he'll mark it out as an experience that he had in the Navy SEALs, but he explains it after in such a way that you can use it in your like everyday life, like at your job or coaches. So I'm like, there's a lot of different like avenues, and that's going to take the coach to want to do that. Like I want to go read that book so I can be a better coach.
But you have to admit to yourself that you don't know all the answers. Like I love like the expression. It's like wisdom is knowing what you don't know. Humility is the ability to admit it. Right? Like that's where you start.
So what else do we got for him, Destin? Here.
When am I going to help coach?
Whatever you want, man.
Yeah, I want to hear about like what you're doing. So you have your own skills business, right?
Yeah.
Love to help out.
Yeah, I'm because of these recent events and these epiphanies that I've had as a coach, and my director of my own program, I'm looking to change things up in the future. But I don't know. It's kind of an unknown right now what I'm going to do with JSHA, my academy. I don't really necessarily know, to be honest, if what I'm currently doing is really helping. And that's just me reflecting on it and being honest with myself, right? And looking in the mirror. I want to be a part of growth of the game. I want to be part of something bigger. I've considered taking my name off of it.
But hey, it takes a team, man.
Yeah, I it's not about me. It's about these kids, right? So how do I live that out, right? And first year we did past year we did the 6U 8U program for the first time. It was a blast. It was amazing. We had some great coaches out there with some very young kids. And that was the most fun I've ever had coaching. And my son's 5, so it was really nice to have him out there too, right? But what am I going to do? It's like, what am I going to do? What does this area need the most?
Got some ideas.
And I'd like to find ways, like I've talked about it, kicked it around with like trying to find a way to subsidize my own program. Like,
I got an idea.
What's your idea?
I want to hear it. I want you to hear it.
Okay.
What if we were to like just kind of go around Western states and just throw together like a fat banger of a tournament, bring in all the elite, let the kids know what it's like to develop to get to a different program, and just kind of just roll off of that and like bring everything in.
The thing is again, I'm a pariah with tournaments. You didn't know that going into this, but I think that's good. I think if there's a purpose, if there's a charitable cause, I'd be happy to do that. But if it's for getting the best players funneled, that already exists.
Well,
but
exactly. I'm just saying, like, why not help with costs of everything moving forward?
Yeah, like there's ways to figure that out, but it's it's 501c3s get a little messy, and you just you gotta abide by the law and the rules and everything like that. And so no, I'm kicking around like, okay, how do I get my costs down? Because I pay my coaches well. I have very good coaches. I believe I have the best coaches in the state, bar none.
I believe you.
Kanasowicz, Christian Horn, Dusty Campbell, myself, Mike Adamak, Tommy Anderson, right? Like, and there's more that I haven't mentioned. Like, there are guys that I have relationships with that want to help with our program, and I make sure that they feel like their time is valued, right? So I want to pay them well. And so how do I subsidize it? Make sure that the coaches feel like their time's valued and respected, and they're part of a bigger cause. It's unknown. I just don't know philosophically right now if I truly still align with what I'm currently doing.
I do.
And I think that's,
do.
Well, thank you.
And I mean, that's like, I'm not on that skill level.
I appreciate that. But like, I think my program really, I want to, walk the walk, man. And like lead by example. And I'm hopeful that, youth organizations in the state kind of just like zoom out a little bit and say like, where are we? Where are we right now? Do we really need 4 or 5 tier 2s? It seems a little saturated to me.
Yeah. It's like a
You know, how's our tier 1 doing and why? Like, why is it really them? Is it us? Like, am I a part of the conflict here? Am I harming them in a way? And no, not me personally. I'm saying like in general, like just the questions that people should be asking themselves. Like,
I totally agree, because even when I grew up, without it being as saturated, correct? Like with what you just said, it was like you had 2 state teams almost that were the elite that would go play for that team, and you would go play for that team.
yeah.
And then you would go to regionals and nationals.
I just wish like some of these tier 2 orgs would just say, you know what? No ego, no compete stuff like at 14s. Let's just go 6s, 8s, 10s, and 12s. Yeah. And then let like 2 other organizations out of the 4 or 5 right now of tier 2s, let them just have it. Yeah. And like that's the place where the best players of the state go. And now we actually have true tier 2 teams. Yeah. We probably have 1 to start. And then like 3 years goes by. Now we're gonna have 2. And then maybe like another 3 years goes by. So we're 6 years in. And then like one of those organizations that maybe gave up their tier 2 status to actually grow the game and do their thing. Now they have a tier 2 status. Now we got 3. And like now because we have 3, now we can funnel some of those players into a tier 1 team. And then now they're a legitimate tier 1. Like, can we just do that? Like, can we consider that?
That's actually a freaking fact. Because if you think about it, not only it, like even like and I like the goal, the plan of the goal of what you're saying. But if you were to think about it, like you could literally, kids are going to come from out of state if it starts getting to be where it needs to be.
Yeah, well, everyone's going to be moving here anyways. But anybody with like half a brain in the hockey world right now will look at it and say, at the rate we are going,
10,000
it's going to take 10 years.
10,000 kids signed up.
Yeah, but it's going to, at the rate we're currently going with the people that are currently involved that are just, I don't know what the issue is. Maybe they see something that I'm missing. Fair. I'm open to that.
Is it just analytics?
But like what I see in a non-emotional lens, I'm not in those meetings, but I'm hearing about those meetings. What I've seen in the agenda and the public agenda is bickering, arguing. Right. Like, guys, like this is about the kids.
Yes. So who's holding those meetings? Who are the people that are like calling the shots right now?
Well, I mean, great question, actually. A lot of blame gets placed on UAHA, but I think like the organizations of the state, the tier 2 orgs, they have too much power. Mm-hmm. They're given too much like choice in the matter. I think UAHA could be a little bit more powerful than they currently are. I think they could establish more hard boundaries and rules to abide by. They have current rules, and any UAHA member that I know will tell you like organizations still break the rules. Yeah, whether it's recruiting or whether it's like, you know, double rostering kids, like whatever that is, like, and that happens on a national scale. But can we find a place where like, you know, we just zoom out and we go like, hey, we're not hitting it. Like the talent doesn't exist here. Like, so how do you grow the talent? Because right now we're focused on the top end of the pyramid, the 14s, 16s, and 18s. Those are all the discussions. Right. Those kids are gone. Yeah. I love those kids. I work with some of those kids. They're all trying to leave. Yeah. And they're going to leave. Absolutely. Regardless, they're going to leave. Yeah. And you right? And some 12s right now are talking about leaving at 11, 12, 13 years old. Like,
how do we get the...
Okay, so let's focus all of our time and energy on the people that aren't leaving for a little while. Fair. You know, and let's like give them something to look forward to. And I think that is the discussion.
And again, like keeping it fun, obviously.
Keep it fun.
Yeah. Keep it fun. But at the same time, you can work hard to have fun.
Yeah, but I think it's not like, you know, when people, the reaction that I get, like our 6s and 8s, like, okay, guys, like if you have the kids moving the entire hour, playing soccer, multiple puck scrimmage, you know, skating drill, whatever, but they're not standing in line too long. They're moving, and they're engaged, and they're having a blast, and they leave the ice red-faced, sweaty, with a smile on their face. Man, you cannot miss on development. Absolutely. You've nailed it, right? But if they're standing in line, hitting each other in the head with a stick, they're bored, they're not engaged, because you wanted to do some like pass and shot drill that takes forever for that age group, you've missed entirely. When I've said those things, people are like, "Why are you taking it so serious?"
Like what
and I'm like, I'm taking it serious? Yeah. Like you like, it's not even engaging for the kids.
Exactly.
This isn't fun.
Like even resorting back to that, like you throw a soccer ball out there, they're going to learn their edges without even knowing they're learning their edges.
Half the kids in the state play 8U for like 3 or 4 years.
Like, and you just
they do the soccer ball with skates song, different something. Dance on repeat, no real competitive games, no league, no nothing. And by the time, and then they're playing baseball and basketball and doing other things, right? And they're getting that fun in baseball, basketball, and football, whatever, or lacrosse, whenever those things start. And they're like, you know what? I think baseball's more fun, or I think basketball's more fun because I get to compete. I get to play games and stuff like that. I'm bored of this like station ADM only. Exactly. You know, like there's no games for these kids to play. Like, and I mean games at that age is cross ice 3v3, 4v4.
Small little,
just fun. Like tons of fun.
Out there and let them
not even keeping score.
Yeah. No.
Not even keeping score. I've been at cross ice games with my son.
Yep.
And they're keeping score. And mom and dad in the stands are cheering. Like it's the Stanley Cup. And I'm like sitting there like quiet, like sitting to my wife. I'm going, oh my God, Sarah, I want to gouge my eyes out with a wooden spoon right now. And I want to plug my ears. Like I can't watch this and I can't hear this anymore. These people are insane. Like these kids are 6 and 7. Some of them are 5, like my son. Like what are we teaching these kids? Like we're putting so much pressure on them at a younger age. I know. You're gonna do private lesson, push him. Should my kid play up? He's 8. Oh my God. No, you're gonna play up at 10.
And the kids aren't going to retain information when they're not having fun. You know, when they have fun, they retain that information.
All this money, you're spending all this money, and don't think that kids don't pay attention to that. Yeah. They know when you're spending dough on them.
They're over there like,
they know when you're struggling. Absolutely. I did.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I was like, remember like 7 or 8 years old, knowing like my dad was a teacher, my mom was an administrational assistant, and I'm like, they don't got it, right? Like I knew that. Yeah. These kids see that, so that's an inherent pressure.
Like you said,
we don't give our kids enough credit. Like I have had 12 U kids on the bench crying. Why are you crying? Because my dad's screaming at the ref right now. I'm really embarrassed. I don't want to play.
Yeah, dude.
You know how heartbreaking that is as a coach? And you can't say anything to parents right now about that because you'll offend them. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, guys.
And why are you here? Exactly.
So they spend countless hours at the rink, countless time and money on the game, pressuring their kids, whether they realize it or not, they are. We see it as coaches. And if we're being honest as coaches, we know we see it. And then when they get to an age where they should be blossoming, when they should be loving the game and really have a good, strong work ethic, they're burned out.
Yeah.
They're done.
Absolutely.
So all of that time and money you spent was in vain. Mm-hmm. Let's just let your kids steer the wheel.
Right.
You know, when my kid asks to go to the rink, I'll take him to the rink.
Absolutely.
Is he going to be coached?
I'm there to support, but
nope.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm there to support.
Go to Stick and Puck.
Have fun.
You can pull up the cameras. When I go to Stick and Puck with my son, I'm rarely on the ice with him the whole time. If I'm on the ice, I'm making sure he's safe.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm letting him be independent, play with his buddies, and just
get to know people. Get to acquainted. Just have fun. Right. Be around people.
I'm fine and content with my kid taking over.
Is as coaches, like I would bring in others as assets because it's like, you know, kids start to get the whole repetitiveness. Hearing it from same people, right? Oh, it's the coach that's just saying the same thing over and over again because it's kind of a, you know, it's just a fact of life. Yeah. You know, if I keep beating the dead horse or whatever over something, it's like they're gonna just go one through one ear and out the other.
Yeah, and let the kid have control.
Yeah, it's like, okay, who's gonna step up and lead us into this, and you guys talk about it.
Yep.
I want you guys figure it out. You know, I can coach you, but that's when we're at practice and what we want to kind of run.
Independence breeds creativity.
Exactly.
And what we're seeing more than ever is a super skilled hockey player that's dumb, that doesn't know how to play with his teammates, that doesn't have good hockey IQ. Dumb hockey-wise, not dumb like intelligence-wise, but hockey dumb. Like doesn't know how to play. All the scouts talk about it. Fair. Oh my God, this league's more skilled than ever, but these kids don't know how to play together. It's all individual.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want your kid to have a high hockey IQ,
let him fly.
Let him fly, baby.
Exactly.
Let him take control and be creative.
Yeah, and that's what creates leadership. That creates a lot of different things. Yeah. I mean, it's true.
Moral of the story, let your kids have fun, right?
Absolutely.
Let your kids have fun. And dude, it just goes by so fast.
Yep.
Yeah, let your hair down.
You're going to regret it. Just stop being so stressed out about it. Just watch, have fun with it, hug your kid, show up to everything. I'm proud of you for working hard, man.
Yeah, and don't let them be later. You're going to skate ladders.
Yeah, I am not taking this at the youngest age levels. Stop. I'm not taking it seriously. What I'm taking seriously is the offensive coaches that are taking it seriously and ruining kids.
Absolutely.
And that's where I'm doing it.
I've got to help out with perfect skating. I'm not sure if you know Tim
and
Ham and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I help out with them quite a bit, just voluntarily, right?
Well, Sean Allard was my skills coach in the NHL.
Oh, okay.
So Sean Allard owns Perfect Skating.
Oh, cool.
Right? So I paid that guy a lot of dough every offseason to train me.
Well,
right.
hey.
So
And that's how he was able to start
I'm one of
perfect
those
skating.
350 plus NHLers that they promote. Right.
I love it.
So like for me, I love perfect skating. I love Tim Branham. I love what they're doing. And, we've found ways to possibly collaborate in the future. So we'll see what happens.
No, and awesome with that because it's one of those things. I got to go play tag with kids, and I was like, "Okay," and I'd pick a kid 2 minutes to go tag, and then I'd be like, "Hey, now you got to catch me," and they just have a ball, like it's
They're
fun.
pumping their edges and
It's
they're
so
having
much
blast.
fun. Yeah, it's amazing.
You're developing right
fun.
before your eyes.
Yeah, it's fun. That's why I said throw a soccer ball in there, have fun.
Yeah.
And then when they run into each other, it's the best part.
Totally.
Jack,
Keep your head up.
thanks for everything.
You're the man.
Again,
Absolutely.
I think you've got a lot of great perspective, and I hope
I do too.
I hope we can make a change for the
I
better.
hope it's received well.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
And
Yeah.
Don't get your panties in a bunch just
Yeah.
because we talk hockey and you guys don't know what we're talking about, right?
Sounds
We've
like he knows
already
what he's
taken-
talking about. He
Yeah,
played in the
it's
damn
not like
NHL.
I'm trying.
It's not like we're not here to jab at anybody. We're here
No.
to explain why it needs to be what it needs to be.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back next week. Well, yeah, we're going to Arizona, so we're taking a break next week, but more episodes will follow.
Thursday.
But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.